Hi everyone, welcome to Dave's Bonsai. On today's episode, the travels continue east of the Mississippi, the Bonsai road trip, and we're in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to check out the Phipps Conservatory and Botanical Gardens. Welcome everyone inside the passive solar green frame where the rain kind of came and kind of left, and I am finishing up the first week of being a teacher again. That's right, the summer fun is over and I had to be a teacher. So this was week number 1 with the students. They were all fantastic, recharging me for the year, but I got some more bonsai to talk to. So right away here, let's get you into the Phipps, right? The Phipps Conservatory and Botanical Gardens, where they have an amazing display of, let me say, pretty huge trees.
Well, good morning, everyone. On this day 4 of my road trip east of the Mississippi, I am in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where I am at the Phipps Conservatory and Botanical Gardens. Another one on your list. Mark it on your list. Put it on there, the bucket list, and get here. And again, give yourself an entire day. Now, I've got to be further east in about 4 or 5 hours, so I'm going to hit the road again, but I could spend another 4 or 5 hours here. And we got a lot to talk about with Ben and Alex, so let's go take care of that.
So I got my bachelor's degree in environmental science, and I graduated in 2020, the year of the pandemic. And my friend was working at Fipps, and back then it was really hard to find a job. And so originally I got a job in the facilities department, and I worked there for 9 months before my skills were more realized in the horticulture department. And at that time, the previous bonsai and Japanese garden horticulturist was thinking about retiring. And when he retired, there was a lot of searching around for a new candidate, somebody with lots of experience. And I kind of saw that and I said, well, I know that you're searching for somebody, but Pittsburgh's not exactly full of very skilled or very experienced bonsai horticulturists. And I said, I will take the initiative and I'll learn everything that I need to do if you give me this job, and by the time that you would have found somebody experienced, I will have that experience. And I was very thankful that the staff here really trusted me and gave me that opportunity. Yeah. So I've been doing this job since November of 2022.
So what's been the biggest learning curve in this quest to learn as you go?
I think naturally, coming from a horticulture background, from an environmental science background, I was more attuned to the health of plants and knowing how to take care of plants and basic soil chemistry and things like that. But the harder parts were more about design principles and bonsai practices. I learned a lot from Pedro Morales of Futago Bonsai and Chris Baker from the Chicago Botanic Garden. And they really taught me a lot about different practices and design principles. And from there, I really just used a lot of internet resources and books and magazines to just learn as much as I can and soak it in like a sponge. And I won't say that I know half of what those guys do, but I'm learning every day, and someday I'll be there. So
Just listen to a Bonsai Mirai, the Asymmetry podcast with Ryan Neal. And Ryan Neal, he's talking organic and stop throwing chemicals into all these trees to kill everything in sight, and talking about diversity of trees, but we have to be able to take care of the trees and provide the nutrients for the trees and keep them healthy so we can do the work. So it sounds like you're 2 years in a prime position to really help us take care of the trees, and then art stuff will come in time for a lot of us hobbyists, right?
Right.
We'll learn how to design the trees, but we have to keep them healthy. What are your thoughts on that kind of, now you're young in it, but that shift seems to be really heading that way.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think that, I mean, obviously a dead bonsai is not going to look good, right? I think that's pretty obvious. But
that's when bonsai is done.
Yeah, exactly.
Is when it's dead.
Exactly. So I think that fortunately here at Fipps, we have a lot of horticultural knowledge and practice that we build upon. And for example, we don't use a lot of harsh chemicals. Like we have an integrated pest management. We use things like beneficial insects to help take care of pests, and we don't really use a lot of harsh chemicals like you were saying.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of we just have this basis of horticultural health and we have a standard here, and I think that makes it much easier for me to work on these trees.
Yeah.
And you're right. From there, then the art and the design really comes into play.
What a story. Alex Spiro, only a couple years after school, a couple of years at the Fipps, and he's doing bonsai at a level that we all aspired to. Now, of course, those trees were all there for him to learn on, but what an opportunity. Thank you, Alex, for your time. We got plenty more to go for sure with Alex. Now, they were under construction while I was there, like many other places on my trip, unfortunately. But having the VIP treatment, being backstage there in the greenhouse to see where all the magic happens, that was pretty phenomenal. So we've got a lot more trees to go and see. Now, I was hoping to see the John Naka tree at the Washington, D.C. National Bonsai and Penjing Museum. By the end of the day, that closed at 5, but more on that later. Here, Alex showed me this amazing tree, huge tree again. It was another John Naka forest. I had no idea I was going to see this. Let's check this out.
This is our weeping fig forest. It's a Ficus benjamina, and this is actually the original artist of this piece is John Naka. The story is that John Naka made this piece for an exhibition, for sort of like a styling workshop. Afterwards, there was a raffle, or there was an auction, and the winner of this piece was a man by the name of Anton Bagdon. When he passed on, he donated this tree to us. From there, really, I think our fascination here at Phipps of large bonsai really became apparent. At that time, our bonsai horticulturist was Keith Scott, and he was really into large bonsai. He made an exact replica of this piece. And so sometimes when one of these isn't show quality, we'll show the other one, and it always gives us a healthy tree to show. Just this massive ficus forest.
I think this is the first time I've been this close to a John Naka tree. This is fabulous. What we in the West here are starting to catch up to, I think, maybe Japanese traditions, is that we have trees now that are descendants of people in the West that started the tree. And I know he was, born in Japan, but raised here.
Yeah.
And so he did most of his work in the States.
Yeah.
So now we have trees that are being passed down, and with places like the Fipps here, we got stuff that's really, really high quality from a lot of cool collections.
Yeah, and it's great to have such a big name here at Phipps, because he was really, when you talk about American bonsai and how the art passed over, he was really one of the premier, just really important people. I think in the Bonsai Hall of Fame, American Bonsai Hall of Fame, is him and Bill Valvanis, and Bill Valvanis's old master. Okay. And so you really talk about like the 3 most important people to American bonsai, and he's one of them. So
next up, we have this gem.
This is an Eleagnis, or silverthorn, silverberry, as people call it, and we're really proud of this one because often you don't see a cascade that's quite so large. As I said before, we really pride ourselves in having large bonsai here. And this bonsai we actually showed at the national show up in Rochester.
And where did this tree come from? Do you know its origins?
I believe this is also a Keith Scott original. So it was probably started training somewhere between 1963 and sometime in the 90s. Yeah. We don't have, one of the things we're working on here is improving our records, but we don't always have great records of how old these really are or when they started.
That seems to be common in the bonsai world.
Yes,
we're all
yeah.
trying to get better at that. Mm-hmm. It's August 1st today. You all have a lot of construction going on, so that's why we're in here. These would be on display, many of them, but yeah. What is the work on a refined tree all summer long? What's keeping you two busy?
This time of year, there's a large photosynthetic demand, right? The days are very long. It's very hot in the greenhouses, especially when a lot of days the rain will come down and the vents will close, but it'll still be very sunny. And so it gets very hot in these greenhouses. So watering multiple times a day is crucial, especially for these bonsai that have very small or very narrow pots. And also fertilizing a lot is very, very key. right now, as you can see with these sort of bonsai, we're just letting them flush out. We're letting them take advantage of the long days and the hot days. And we're, as I said before, like sort of prioritizing health right now. But as we roll into fall, we'll start doing some more pruning and compacting these and really getting them to be show quality. And hopefully by then our Japanese garden will be back up and running, and we'll be able to display some more of these and really let the public enjoy them.
So when the trees are this large, and you said just kind of flushing out in the summer months, are you worried about the change in the overall canopy and style of each of these trees, or you're going to prune them soon enough to kind of keep that general shape and make some maybe even new decisions because of what you're seeing growing?
Right, so I think that, yeah, you can't make new decisions without new growth, right? So I think that really letting them flush out, and then we also have photos of all of these in their show qualities, and so if we grow them out and let them flush out a lot, then what we can do is look back at some old photos and say, is this new growth taking us in a direction that we really like, or do we just want to bring it back to the way that it was last year, right? Yeah. And I think that that's just sort of just the way that we operate in terms of making decisions for the long term. Here at Fipps, we're sort of a collection that likes to keep the original intent of the artist, but unfortunately with bonsai, the trees are always changing. Not unfortunately, I think that it's just an inherent trait of bonsai. They're always changing, and so over time they need to evolve. Absolutely. And so we need to, my job really is to decide what to keep for the original intent of the artist, and how to put my intent into it, and how to improve it over time, and let it evolve in a natural way.
We have living art here, so as you just alluded to, a branch might die, or you might have a slight styling change after something grew out, and an artist like yourself or anybody that's working on the tree might see a different path for the tree, but trying to keep the original artist's intent as best you can.
Yeah.
So when people come here, when this is on display, what's your typical display out there? How many trees, and what are they going to see when they come here to the Fipps?
Yeah, so the tropicals in this greenhouse will be shown in the Tropical Bonsai and Orchid Show, which runs from early mid-January to mid-March.
Okay.
And we put these in the Serpentine room. And we usually have about 30 of these displayed at a time. And so when December rolls around, I really look around and I say, what are the 30 best looking bonsai right now? How do I want to display these? What are the motifs of each? So for example, sometimes I'll put a lot of slanting bonsai together so that you create like sort of a macrocosm of movement in the room. And so I like to think about just a lot of times before the show, I sort of choose where the bonsai go, and I sort of make split-second decisions on where they'll go and how they'll be presented. But the overall show we plan a year in advance. That's a Calamandan orange. If we grew something like a mandarin orange, the oranges would stay the same size and they wouldn't look right.
Yeah.
But Calamandan oranges are always small like this. And this is a fan favorite. This is a real favorite of the public.
I'm sure it is.
And oftentimes you'll actually see, we'll display this. Yeah. And in years past, half of the oranges have disappeared over time, and I'll let you guess why that is. So what we've done is we've actually learned to put this furthest in of all the bonsai so that people can't touch it.
People can't touch it.
And we've also put signs up that say, don't pick the oranges, and even if you eat them, they're very sour, and you're not going to like them. So, yeah.
Yeah, green, unripe ones, got some orange ones. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So you'll want to work with some amazing trees. It seems like Fipps might be the place to go. Now, I have the Como Conservatory here in St. Paul area, and our club, the Minnesota Bonsai Society, goes and works on trees most Tuesdays throughout the year. And maybe in a couple more years, maybe I'll get that phone call and I'll be able to help on some of those amazing trees. But in the meantime, let's go back to the Fipps, where Alex Spiro is a young guy who's only got a couple years in, but he's at the Fipps. And so you want to work on a tree, a really good tree, or 3 or 4 or a couple of dozen? We'll just do what Jess did. He asked.
Very special place.
6 years of volunteering, and you belong to any other club, or you just came here and said, I want to work on bonsai? I mean, how'd that get started?
Exactly that.
Just let me in.
Yeah, so I tattooed professionally, and...
Can you give me a bonsai on this arm before I leave?
before you leave.
Okay, maybe not.
Unfortunately not. But I would. I love tattooing bonsai.
Yeah.
I've tattooed a few really passionate people locally with bonsai.
Well, very nice.
But I appreciate attention to detail. The concept of wabi-sabi, everyone loves that one.
Yeah.
And I saw it really applicable here. So I kind of weaseled my way in, harassing Kevin and Al here, and
And you get to be a part of this Zen. I mean, it's kind of heaven to be with these with any kind of tree and just sit there and let the world.
I annoy him every day.
Well,
This
is awesome. This is awesome. Fantastic.
Yeah, so this is a staff project that we're working on where we've had people from all departments sign up for a raffle and then get chosen to make their own chrysanthemum bonsai. And we kind of shamelessly stole this a little bit from Longwood Gardens. Over time, what we want to do is have a chrysanthemum bonsai collection, because here at Fipps, our main showstopper plant are chrysanthemums. Our fall show is the largest chrysanthemum show, I think, in the world, at least in the United States. Wow. And we really pride ourselves in growing good chrysanthemums. And so this is just, I really love showing this off because this is not a usual bonsai that you see, right?
Yeah.
But people love doing these. And the great thing about chrysanthemums is, I mean, this, for example, was maybe this tall last time that I was here a week ago, right? And so they really grow very fast, and you can really learn the fundamentals of bonsai very quickly with something that grows quickly and is nice like that. So,
yeah.
And in the fall, they're also really pretty to look at because they'll bloom and be all sorts of nice oranges and reds and yellows. I don't know, people really already love chrysanthemums, and so to have one in your home and take it home with you is really special. So.
Now remember I said something about large trees? There are more of them, and even though most of the trees were in the greenhouse, there were a few outside. Let's go out there and take a peek at a couple of those.
So you can see here we have some of our hardy bonsai. This one in particular, I really love this Japanese white pine. We actually displayed this one as well at the latest American bonsai show in Rochester. And I really love just like the multicolored moss on this one. And this one's a joy to work with. And it really, I think, shows wabi-sabi more than any other bonsai that we have here. Of course, we have Shimpaku junipers. We have a lot of Scotch pines and some weeping Japanese white pines as well.
You do all like big trees.
Yes, exactly. By the time I leave here, I want my mark on Fipps to be more shohin, because if we keep growing large bonsai like this, we're never going to have enough room, right? And so if we want to expand our collection, we need to start thinking about shohin. The other great thing about shohin is you can display them much more easily. I really want to expand our collection in that way. This is our other bald cypress. I worked on this one with Chris Baker. We together made a lot of the stylistic decisions on this tree.
That is an amazingly wide nabari.
Yeah. So we think this one was Yamadori because you can't get those flying buttress roots like that. You can't make that in a greenhouse, right? You have to sort of wild collect something like that.
Yeah.
I love bald cypress, but they don't grow moss well in their pots, and they also love growing weeds in the pots because they stay so wet.
Yeah.
I've actually seen at the U.S. Bonsai show in Rochester, some people even grow these bald cypress in standing water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have water trays below them or just in water?
Yeah, in water.
Yeah.
This is our indoor oak, Woodleja indica. This one's really nice because in the morning sometimes the sun will come down through the canopy and the entire thing will just glow green.
Just glow.
Yeah.
And what a gnarly trunk and a lot of texture to that trunk.
Yeah, I think
Fabulous.
Indoor oak is really more of a vining plant, and so that's kind of why it has that really it's very, very natural, informal, upright shape like that.
Yeah, for sure. Throw out a couple things that new folks should know about trees, in your opinion, that'll help keep them thriving and be successful in bonsai. What would be a couple of things that you would tell people right out of the gate?
I think that what I've really learned is the most important thing in taking care of bonsai is to be a constant and consistent witness and viewer of your tree. So every single morning, walk out, look at your trees, say, how has this changed from yesterday? How has this changed since a week ago, a month ago, a year ago?
Yeah.
Look for signs of pests and malnutrition, and other issues. And really sort of over time what will happen is you'll start to see a view or a sort of a journey that your tree has been taking and where it will go.
Sure.
And so I think that just really being mindful of your trees and spending time with them is the most important thing that you can do in that sense. Yeah. I mean, this is maybe sort of controversial to say about bonsai, but don't overcomplicate it as well. Like I think sometimes, like I was saying before, just make sure you have a healthy tree, and the design will come after that, and you'll learn as you appreciate nature and you appreciate trees outside of the bonsai context. You'll start to see the directions that your tree can go, and really sort of love and appreciate nature, and your designs will follow.
Wow. Wow and wow. Just some amazing trees. That John Naka forest back a little while ago, holy cow. Just amazing stuff. The orange tree, oh man. But no, you can't touch the oranges, people. You can't eat them. Yeah, they just look really cool, right? What a great time. Hey, thank you so much to Alex. So appreciated Alex's time, giving me the time to talk and show me the trees and their operation. They have a building on campus there that's like one of those completely regenerative buildings that is like solar powered, water powered, all clean energy. Fantastic. He got me to show me that too. Fantastic. And Jess, the amazing volunteer who might just get a tattoo on my left arm someday. We'll see. See if I commission him to draw that up for me. Jess, I'll be calling you hopefully soon. Or reach out to me. All right. bonsaiacres@gmail.com. Yeah, anytime. All right. Well, so did I make it to Washington, D.C. to see the John Naka iconic forest by 5 o'clock closing time? Guess what? They didn't close at 5. But did I still get there on time? Well, I'm going to tell you on the next show. So until the next time, hey, take care of you, take care of your bonsai, and you know we're going to see you very, very soon.